Welcome to another edition of Front Porch Politics, the show that brings politics back into our communities. I'm Tim Boyne. We start this month in the heart of uptown Charlotte, where there's a debate raging over the future of transit. Really, it boils down to, should there be more of a focus on roads or the rails? It's a debate that's even reached the halls of the General Assembly in Raleigh. So we decided to hit the road and the rails with two Charlotte City Council members to find out what all the fuss is all about. First things first.
I've explained this to you 1,000 times over the last 6 years.
Charlotte Councilmen Tark Bakari and Braxton Winston love to spar.
You can put this act on every time we bring up a point.
But they have great respect for each other and don't take it personal.
This is part of the fear-mongering, right? I just don't.
Fear-mongering?
But the emotion highlights the critical challenges a growing city faces.
I just want to make sure I heard you right.
I don't see how that's going to move more people in a shorter amount of time.
As fast as people continue to move here, congestion keeps them from moving when they arrive. City Council wants to spend nearly $14 billion to ease the pain. But how to pay for it and where to spend it has the proposal stuck in traffic too. So today we're riding the rails, boarding the bus, and hitting the highways with two passionate councilmen with very different views to see and hear the debate firsthand. Charlotte City Council members Tark Bakari and Mayor Pro Tem Braxton Winston. Good. We first got to know Bakari and Winston through their spirited debates on Capitol tonight.
I want to just cut in right there because
I'm sure you do, Mr. Winston. I'm sure you do.
Mr. Bakari is not telling the whole story.
We cannot sing, so what can we do? Chief Kerr Putney, come out and tell us what we can do.
Braxton Winston gained fame during protests after Keith Lamont Scott was shot and killed by police in 2016.
I'm here to indict the Charlotte government for crimes against the humanity of the city of Charlotte.
The following year, the Democrat turned protests into politics.
I am running for Charlotte City Council at large.
He won, and the entire council gained fame as the first majority millennial council in the country.
Hello, my name's Tark Bakari, and I'm from the great state of Mecklenburg.
Republican Tark Bakari also won a seat on that 2017 council. As one of just two Republicans on the council, he's not afraid of confrontation, especially with the mayor.
It has nothing to do with this $10 million that literally we were tricked into voting for so that they could stand on that stage and call it the mayor's initiative and call it a public-private partnership.
I'm sorry, Mr. Bakari, really, why do you have to insert your commentary in my remarks?
As one of only two Republicans, he sees it as part of his job to question the majority. And make no mistake, the same is true when it comes to the Queen City's massive transit proposal. Our day started on the south end of the Blue Line, the only light rail line.
Do you want to do a bet on the over-under? Which mode of transportation will we see the most people in today?
A 19-mile ride, a north-south route from South Charlotte to UNC Charlotte.
A train, mass transit, is integral to a functioning city. But it also shows the limitations when you have a system that only goes to 2 points. There's not a great way to get east and west.
The proposed $13.5 billion plan puts money into buses, sidewalks, bike lanes, greenways, and roads. But the focus remains on rails. It would add an east-west route. It would also add a third line from uptown to the northern suburbs.
It is the most powerful economic development tool that I've probably seen pound for pound.
It's hard to miss riding the rail. Stop after stop, feature development after development. But Bakari sees a huge difference between the development and the reason for the rails in the first place, including the proposed east-west Silver Line, which broadly speaking would reach more economically challenged areas.
The entire premise of the Silver Line is politicians made promises to people on the east and west side of town for over a decade that this was going to transform their entire part of town, not move people around. That's like a byproduct. Look how many people are still on here. It's a byproduct compared to the cars that we see out of the door.
Another challenge, development could come to these poor areas, but would it lead to gentrification and push people out who could no longer afford it? Supporters aim to make half of all transportation trips by 2040 in something other than a car. That would require a change in human behavior.
It doesn't matter how much we build of this touching everywhere. People are still going to drive in Charlotte. That is their behavior. That's what they want to do. And if we continue to ignore the roads, their hope is it gets so painful to drive and park and everything around this community that they're like, oh, it's so painful.
We need a development pattern that creates a city that is going to be sustainable for hundreds of years.
I need to get in the right lane here. I think I do.
As we head out of Uptown, we hit the roads, Clark Bakari's preferred ride.
You see, like, Braxton feels so uncomfortable. He hates this. He's inside the enemy right now, a car.
He's blunt about wanting to focus and money on roads versus rail, and he has his own ideas.
Look at how many people are actually on these roads, and we're about to be on a spot with a lot more. It's about repaving. It's about taking care of the potholes and the things that have just gotten way out of control there and making the road better and able to handle things better and faster speeds. But then I really think the number one basic is smart technology around our intersections and lights and crosswalks.
Bakari argues a future with artificial intelligence and self-driving cars needs future investment more than light rail. But Winston argues the city can't pave itself out of the congestion problem.
So we need to really minimize the use of local trips on our interstate. And I think you do that, again, by building denser communities so that things that people need are close to where they're at. I think you, again, optimize public transportation options in town so that people need to get on to the interstate to go about their daily lives in town. Few and far between.
A fight over toll lanes on Interstate 77 from Uptown to South Carolina is possible in the future as well. If you need any proof of the battle that would erupt, just ask anyone involved in adding tolls on 77 north of Charlotte.
I've had the pleasure of serving on Charlotte City Council.
Just days ago, Winston's time on the city council ended as his run for state labor commissioner kicked off. But he remains focused on the future of Charlotte transit and across the state.
Workers need to be able to get to work, and employers are going to set up where workforces are able to be able to get to work. So increasingly, you have communities that look very different than Charlotte, but are having the similar problems where workers have to live further and further away from where jobs are popping up.
Hello and welcome back to our Decision 2023 coverage. Last month, Tark Bakari won his city council re-election race by just 358 votes.
One of the closest races. We knew this was going to be close.
But instead of gloating, the normally blunt Bakari feels a different emotion.
The problem that I'm starting to kind of wake up to right now, and that's where this fear comes in, is, well, I've given this everything I have over the last 6 years. I've worked super hard. I've raised things to attention. I've solved some things, but when you look at those items I've just said, I haven't been successful. So I can't just go back and do the same thing. And it's gonna take a different approach. And maybe that approach is I need to be more quiet and work behind the scenes.
Bakari and Winston's time together on the council has ended. Something tells me their debates are far from over.
How we move people and things
How
along.
comfortable is it being in this car right now? Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
I'm very comfortable.
Oh, it's so good.
I was comfortable on the train and the bus as well.
Yeah, but were you this comfortable?
Absolutely.
Cars are so awesome.